We have full confidence in Major General Makgato, and we trust that his leadership will enhance efficiency and maintain stability within crime intelligence.
Some angry Rosettenville residents in the south of Joburg are calling for action to tackle the illegal migration issue in the area. Under the banner of local group March and March, the residents have taken to the streets in protest today. They're marching to the Boysons police station to hand over a memorandum of demands. Ntokozo Khumalo is there.
Following demonstrations at local clinics which led to foreign nationals being denied access to healthcare, a number of residents from Rosettenville are now gathered at a local park ready to march to the police station. They are calling for an end to what they say is corruption in the police services, accusing officers of working with illegal immigrants who commit crimes. In addition, they say their clinics and hospitals are overburdened by the large numbers of undocumented foreign nationals. Protester Tandega Mason.
And where is immigration? Why do we have so much illegal people around here roaming the streets as if they own us? What's happening? What's happening? Who's at the borders? Who's working there? Is there immigration in South Africa? Is there police in South Africa? Where's our president? Why are they all so silent?
Masondo says they will not stop demonstrating until their demands are met. Ntokozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News, Rosettenville.
Science and Innovation Minister Bladen Nzimande says the country has learned the hard way not to rely so heavily on global partners for its scientific needs. He says he'll soon table a report before Cabinet on the impact of the withdrawal of health funding by the United States. Delivering his budget vote address in the National Assembly today, Nzimande reflected on how unilateralism can affect the sector. In January, US President Donald Trump announced he was pulling the plug on years of aid to South Africa and other nations for their HIV treatment programs. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
Minister Bladen Nzimande says in line with the country's foreign policy of multilateralism, his department is also looking to diversify its international partners to include countries from blocs such as BRICS, the European Union and the G20.
To depend on one polar of the world for our science system is a disaster. Because if some people decide, because they are powerful, to withdraw partnerships and change, our system must not be left wanting.
Nzimande says South Africa must not only challenge genocide in Palestine in the International Court of Justice, but also develop partnerships with Palestinian researchers.
We must have collaboration with Palestine so that that civilization of the Palestinian is saved and is not destroyed.
Nzimande says the country will use its position as chair of the G20 to advance its priorities in science, technology and innovation. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And Kenya's President William Ruto has warned against a bid to overthrow the government by protests. At least 31 people have died and more than 500 others arrested in Kenya's anti-government protests. It's been more than a year of mostly youth-led demonstrations in Kenya, which were triggered by proposed tax hikes. Ruto claims the protesters want to overthrow the current government before the 2027 elections. Gold's trading at $3,291.07 an ounce. The rand's at 17.83 to the dollar, 24.24 to the pound, 20.89 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $70.15 a barrel.
Four-ways roadworks slowing down traffic on the N1 northbound. That's between Malebongo Drive and Winnie Mandela. In Edenville, also expect heavy delays on the R21 westbound. This is rather the R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. And still look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeek.
It's a fine day in Gauteng this afternoon. The temperatures have peaked at highs between 17 and 19 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, protesters have caused a slight disruption to proceedings of the Judicial Conduct Tribunal involving Eastern Cape Judge President Salbi Mbenenge.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Walk through history, walk with it. Sunday, 27 July, 7:02 Walk the Talk. Hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. More on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja.
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome to 7:02 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, on this Wednesday, the 9th of July. And I'm so excited to get back into us having the juicy conversations with one another because I love hearing from all of you. So we're going to kick off by asking a question, and I'll need to elaborate. But have you ever felt like the second husband or the other man in your friend's relationship? And this is very unique to women, hence I'm asking it this way. We can open it to the gents as well. But for the gents, I want to know, do you ever feel like your woman's friends or your wife's friends are doing things that you should be doing as the husband or as the man in the relationship? And I really will explain the different scenarios where that could fall into, but it seems to be a thing. So I'll hear from you on that one. Our finance feature, we're going to talk about how to save 1 million rand. We all need to know how to save 1 million rand. Guys, not just save. We want to make it and save it. Hannah Chivaka will join us for that conversation. Senior Actuary, Retail Solutions, Savings and Investments at Metropolitan. And then we have our masterclass together with Decorex Africa. And today we're talking about designing homes for flexibility and changing lifestyles. Gareth van Niekerk will join us for that, which is the Joint Executive Creative Director at Decorex Africa 2025, as well as the Co-Executive Creative Director, Alan Hayward, for that conversation in our masterclass for today. So get in touch with us. Give us a call, 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 Afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
With Relebogile Mabotja
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
I've been wanting to have this conversation with you guys for a while. Things have been a bit busy. So there's a woman who was expressing what she was feeling. And what she was saying was that she feels like she is the second husband in her friend's marriage. The context is as follows. If you're like, why would she be the second husband in her friend's marriage? But in essence, the things that she believes are supposed to be for a couple, as in, this should be your man's responsibility. This should be your partner's responsibility. They sometimes end up falling on her. Like carrying emotional labor of certain things. So now where the husband or the boyfriend falls short of, showing up for his partner, her friend is the one who ends up taking on that role. And she was speaking about it, saying, she's not happy about how this plays out, where because your friend is in a relationship where she's not getting everything she needs, she dumps part of those responsibilities on her female friends. I've also seen there are children who express this, where they say, well, because my dad forgets Valentine's Day for my mom, we end up carrying the responsibility because we feel bad for her. Or no, we arrange this thing for Valentine's Day because we know that this one who's married is basically single in her marriage. So the first question is, are you a person, a woman, who, or you could also be a man, who feels like you are the second husband in your friend's marriage? You are the one who carries certain responsibilities, where you say to yourself, how, but you've got a man. Then the other person was saying, why, if you are married as a woman, why are you asking me as your friend for money? I feel like you should be asking your husband or your boyfriend for money. But I also want to hear from the gents who are in long-term relationships or marriages. Do you ever feel like your wife or your girlfriend's friends are taking over things that you should be doing? And it doesn't even necessarily have to be in a negative way. It could be in a positive way. I can't imagine the scenario where a man says, well, I'm feeling frustrated that my guy friend is continuously crying about his wife. Now I must take the brunt of that. I think that is a very unlikely scenario. It's not impossible. But those intricacies that come into intimate partner relationships, where as outsiders, you're like, how? But why am I being asked to do this when you have a person in your life? Why am I being asked to give you a lift when you've got a man with a car? Why am I being asked to pick you up from the airport when you've got a man? Why am I borrowing you money when you've got a man? Now, I've had those thoughts, I'm going to be honest. A couple of years ago, I had a friend who reached out to me for help with something to do with, what you call it, not levies, what is it called? All the things that you owe the city. Your city bill, those bills. And at the time, she was living with her man when she asked me for help. And the thought crossed my mind where I was like, but I'm confused. Because you have a man that you live with. You guys are practically married. And I did help her. And I didn't bring it up. But I did have that thought. Hence, this resonated with me where I'm like, shouldn't your man be doing this? So have you ever been asked by a friend who is in a relationship, a long-term relationship, where you feel like you're doing something that their partner should be doing? And I also acknowledge that life circumstances happen. Maybe that partner is not available. Maybe that partner themselves is not financially in a position to do X, Y, and Z. But have you ever found yourself in that space where you're wondering why it is? Why is it that this person is coming to me for these things when they're in a relationship? Because wouldn't this be something that that person should be doing for you? And there are things I look at where I'm like, fetching somebody from the airport, ke husband duty ntweo, ke wife duty. As a man, if you are landing at the airport, I would imagine if you have a wife who's available and has a car, she must be the one to come and fetch you. Isn't that their job? Not that I would ever say no. But somebody on my TikTok live actually says, this actually happens quite a bit. My friends in relationships ask me for money. Because I'm single, they think I have money. Yeah, I would love to hear from you. And also from the man's perspective. Maybe there are things where you feel like you want to say to your friend, my guy, but you've got a wife. Or you've got a person in your life. Like, why is that not being handled by then? Or maybe you are the man in the relationship who's like, your friend is here a little too often. Why is your friend buying you Valentine's flowers? 011 883 0702. The WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Lundu, you're in Davidton High.
Morning, Clement.
Sure.
If the lady was a kid, a teenager, or something to that effect, then these dynamics could be brought out. But this is the consenting professional adult deciding on whatever that is that they are deciding. And there's clear evidence to say this was not a one-way street.
I agree there with you, but there's a complexity that comes with power dynamics where when you're a junior, there's a lot of things to consider where you may end up playing along with your boss, not because you are attracted sexually to them, because you're worried about what are the potential consequences if I choose to take a tough stand and I say, don't talk to me like that. Can we appreciate that complexity, that nuance?
Agreed on that one.
Thank you for calling, Lundu.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Proudly South African brings the energy of the 702 Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 27th of July at Freedom Park in Tshwane. Swing by their lively water station where mascot Lolo Waruna will keep spirits high with his signature dance moves. As thousands walk with purpose, it's a reminder that buying local fuels small businesses and helps create jobs. Every step counts, every swipe matters. Support South African-made products and help build a stronger economy. Vote with your wallet. Buy local to create jobs.
All roads will converge and thousands of stories will come together as one.
Absolutely incredible.
Because this year's victory for one is a victory for all. As the 2025 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon continues along the route to becoming Africa's first major on the 18th and 19th of October.
Yeah, go major. This is major.
Will you be joining the Cape and the rest of the world? Enter now at capetownmarathon.com and be a part of history in the making when you run the 2025 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon. Because you do count.
Cape Town, you have been showing it.
The 2025 Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, proudly supported by 702. Join us as we run towards Africa's first major.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store, or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Vusi Mavuso, the CEO of Business Leadership South Africa. Where does government even start in responding to this? Can we take the US at its word at the moment? It's a very important one.
Wherever we start, Stephen, we cannot retaliate. A trade war would be far more damaging to South Africa rather than to the US. And I think instead of probably maybe looking at retaliating, we should focus on strengthening our trade with other countries.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by Absa Corporate and Investment Bank, a leading Pan-African bank and proud sponsor of the African Blockchain Report 2024. Absa is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabotja.
20 minutes after 1 o'clock, and we are having a conversation around the support that you give your friends that are in relationships or marriages that you feel should be being done by their partners. Whether it's lending money, an airport run, maybe you are the guy friend to a woman who keeps asking you to come and, fix something, and you genuinely want to say, what's your husband doing? Why is your husband not doing this? Or maybe you are a man that is asking for certain help and the other person is wondering, but you have a wife, you have a girlfriend, and you've never thought to ask them. So doing those duties that in your view are a partner's job. 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. But I want you to hear from the original creator on TikTok who posted this, at Victoria Aching, who said being the second husband to your partnered friends, it makes you fra. Take a listen.
Some married women treat their single friends as their second husbands because they married men who are emotionally unavailable and actually don't like them. Let's get into it. I'm reading a viral tweet that says, a common dynamic I've had to address in friendships recently is women in relationships with men often expect other women to shoulder emotional labor and heavy lifting that should be the responsibility of their male partners and call it community. Clock it. He then goes on to say, I've been there. The friend expected to hold space while someone vents about a husband who won't listen. The friend who receives long texts, urgent calls, emotional dumps, none of which are really about me, but all of which demand me. The friend made into the fallback therapist when the man in the house refuses to show up emotionally. It's one thing to hold your people. It's another thing to be used as the emotional plug-in for someone else's unequal relationship. This isn't just emotional labor, it's emotional outsourcing, and it happens more than we admit. He then goes on to say, and suddenly I'm not just a friend, I'm the backup wife. The emotional extension cord, the uncredited support system in someone else's marriage. This is what happens when people treat emotional labor like a shared resource only when men refuse to do their share. Married women often carry the emotional weight their partners won't hold, then pass that burden to their single friends under the name of sisterhood. It's called community, but it feels like unpaid work. We don't talk enough about how friendship boundaries erode in these dynamics. The line between care and codependence gets blurred when we're told that being a good friend means absorbing someone else's exhaustion without context, without consent, and without reciprocity.
She said it a lot spicier than I did, hence I had to play it, right? But these things happen. 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. We go to the lines. Jacob in Pretoria East, how's it?
All good, and you, Relebogile?
I'm doing well.
Yes. No, my story is, it's so simple. I've got this friend, and they go all out, post their boyfriend doing so well, affluent suburbs, driving fancy cars, And they know you're in business. There might be that extra 2 rands that you have. And every now and then, I kid you not, I'm sure I'm going to get a message next week on the 15th. Ray told me, hey, it's bad. I don't have money for electricity. Grocery is gone. And I was like, no, why don't you ask that boyfriend of yours who's in that fancy place? Because I'm sure they make more money than I do. But they always come back. It's help me out with grocery, help me out with electricity.
Ah.
So the guy is there. Yes. And constantly. Like, you even ask yourself, is that a boyfriend or is it someone they picked up from the internet and posting them to look as if they are in a solid, stable relationship?
Listen, so, hey, one thing I've learned, Jacob, the people, big cars and big houses and fancy lifestyles could literally just mean debt. That's number one. Ne? Secondly, I've also learned that some people are scared that like they're not free in their relationships to say, hey, Shorta, can you help with this? But maybe they're comfortable to go to you. But that one of the friend coming to you for electricity and grocery money, when they have a man. So do you give the money? Jacob. I think we lost Jacob. Jacob?
I'm here?
Oh, there we go. Do you give them the money?
No, I always say that's my partner, and they know. She always says no. No, I never asked her, but...
It's nice to have someone who say, hey, let me check with my partner, let me check with my wife, and say, but no.
Hey, or no, hey, it's a bit tough, because we have these things. People wanna show, I'll call it the Instagram live, but then they use you as a friend, and if you're in a stable relationship, you're posting every day, I miss my man, I miss my man. As a man, I know it might sound toxic, but I've kind of adopted it because I'm a father of 2 girls, and there's a total of 3 women in my life.
Yes.
My girls and my wife. Like, indoor must provide.
Yeah.
It's standard for me.
What if that person though is in debt? Is the issue you have that they're asking but they're posting a lavish life? Is that the main problem for you?
Yeah, it's a lavish life. You're posting a lavish life. You're posting that you are stable. Everything is okay. And as a man, for me, if my partner has to post something lavish about our relationship, I don't expect it to show lack.
I got you.
Yes. And it's the pride of a man that if your woman goes and asks some other man, it's what else are they asking? So for me, I'm at that level.
Yeah, and the question then is, does the man know that she's asking another man for help?
Yes.
Yo.
It will be, because it goes back to it's just a friend. So when do we draw the line? It is just a friend, because some people don't have those boundaries.
Jacob in Pretoria East, I'm so glad you told your partner because it saved you from a lot of trouble. Brandy in Midrand, hi. How? Brandy put us on hold. Guys. Shame, maybe they got a call while they were waiting to talk to us. All right, on the WhatsApp line, Mongezi says, hi, Lebo, I'm a gay guy, late 40s. I already fulfill most of those things for my female friends, and I don't mind at all. I'm emotionally, financially, spiritual support, etc. We cry, laugh, gossip. Most of my female friends were single when we met, but are now married. Our friendship is still intact and even stronger. Guys, just so we are clear, some of you are single in your marriages. Like, let us be very clear about that. You are single in your marriages. I'm not talking even about cheating. That's not what I'm referring to. As in, there is no partnership where you are supporting one another. There are people who are in marriages where they're too scared to say, please help with X. They're too scared to be vulnerable and to open up about certain things. I'm going to give Brandy one more chance. Brandy in Midrand, hi.
Hi, sorry about that.
No problem.
Thanks for taking my call. I wanted to say that sometimes I find that women can be manipulative. Of course, this is not all women, but once a woman has left a relationship, she knows the mindset of the man, the ex. And so when she moves on in another relationship, she can now use that to her advantage and sort of mock him and make him support this current relationship. So men need to also like wake up and be woke, because an ex reaching out for you for financial assistance when is with another man is a sign that we are going to know when you can just easily be manipulated and you know be used, and that's the word. The key word is using someone because you know their weak spots.
So I was trying to think of an alternative word to be manipulative. I would say you are creatively encouraging.
I suppose that's another way of looking at
But
it.
I understand what you're saying, because I've had friends who, for example, I know for a fact they're not interested in a man that's entertaining them. They have no interest, but the reason they will keep it going is because of the financial benefits or whatever other benefits they get out of it. Because they know month end they can say, hey, you know, electricity, 5,000, whatever.
Yes, definitely. And so I think the important thing is that hence I said men need to be woke, because when a woman has mastered your weak points, they will always want to come and tap and play that piano. And so they know the weak spots, you know, they know the blind spots. And so then you think on the other hand, or the man thinks, okay, no, I'm still, I don't know, relevant.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks you so much, Brandy from Midrand. Yo, I didn't realize this game is this rough. I didn't know we can go to exes and ask for money. Abel, must I be messaging, going through my phone book and asking exes for money and see? It's 1:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. I'm Khomotso Modise. At least 3 ANC bigwigs are among those expected to be hauled before the party's Integrity Commission for wrongdoing. This includes Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, his predecessor Bheki Cele, and embattled Higher Education Minister Nobuhle Nkabane. Mchunu and Cele have recently been implicated in rot within the police ranks, while Nkabane has been widely criticized for mishandling the selection process for Sector Education and Training Authority boards. Anti-GBV protesters have caused a slight disruption to proceedings of the Judicial Conduct Tribunal involving Eastern Cape Judge President Salbi Mbenenge. His cross-examination was interrupted by the protesters who made their way into the open proceedings carrying placards. The tribunal is sitting in Sandton investigating allegations of sexual harassment against Mbenenge by Court Secretary Andiswa Mengo. And Indian forensic investigators say all 260 people killed in the crash of a London-bound passenger plane have been identified. All but one of the 242 passengers who boarded the flight were killed in the crash last month. An initial report into the air disaster is expected on Friday. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In 4 ways, roadworks slowing down traffic on the N1 northbound between Malibongo Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive, while in Edenvale heading into Bedfordview, traffic remains a bit sluggish. R24 westbound, that's between Edenvale Road and the Gililis interchange. Otherwise, the rest of 702 land looking pretty good. No major delays have been reported on our highways. We also don't have any serious accidents at this stage. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights. In Randburg at Malibongo Drive and Mahogany, there's also traffic lights out of order. And Alex at Marlborough Drive and Far East Bank. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Want to celebrate Women's Day in style? Then get your tickets as Grammy Award-winning singers Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas come together to celebrate the incredible women of Mzansi on the 9th of August, happening at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium in Sandton. They'll be joined by South Africa's multi-award-winning singers, the incomparable Zonke, Sjava and Vusinova. Get your tickets now on CompuTicket or webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Soulful Night, Vertex Events and 702.
We spend a lot of time looking for deals, but we don't invest the same time in our health. Your health buys you more time with the people you love. So who are you staying healthy for, and how can you improve your health? Choose Dis-Chem Life, the life cover that rewards you for living healthier with lower premiums and more cover. Visit dischemlife.co.za now. Dis-Chem Life. Choose a better partner for life. Dis-Chem Life is an authorized FSP 50594, underwritten by Guard Risk Life, a licensed life insurer, FSP 76. T's and C's apply.
It took time to create the life you've built. Every milestone, every moment, you've earned it. Ingrid takes the time to understand what's priceless to you, tailoring insurance to match a life of distinction. True peace of mind comes from knowing that everything you've worked for is insured with precision. It starts with a conversation. It starts with helloingrid.co.za. Ingrid Risk Services is an authorized financial services provider.
As the official retail partner of the Springboks, Pick n Pay is proud to back the Boks and give you the chance to be the ultimate smart supporter with Pick n Pay ASAP. Money or the Boks on 702. WhatsApp your name, ID number, and the word ASAP to 072 702 1702. You could face the ultimate choice, a mystery Springbok supporter prize, or Pick n Pay ASAP vouchers worth up to 2,000 Rand. It's time to show your Boks spirit. Money or the Boks with Pick n Pay ASAP. Friday on 702 Drive with John Perlman. T's and C's on primemediaplus.com.
Your voice.
Your life.
Your afternoon radio.
On 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
25 minutes to 2 o'clock. We are having a conversation around friends that take on the responsibilities and duties of the partners of their friends that are in relationships, that are in marriages. So airport runs, lending money when this person has a wife or a husband, and you are like, why am I doing this job? It could be the emotional labor. It could be paying the electricity bill. It could be coming in to replace that light bulb, where now you as the friend are there wondering, why am I doing this and not your partner or your husband? 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 702. TT in Pretoria, how's it?
Really, how are you?
Good, good.
Just two.
TT Network, I lost you for a second. You said two things?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
I'm saying just 2 points, but before I make my point, or before I say what my experience is,
yes,
there's a point that you mentioned, or also these guys with big houses and big cars, it could be it's all dead.
Yeah.
It's happily more because I've got a what I consider to be a big house,
yes,
and I've got what I consider to be a big car.
Mm.
And I find myself not struggling like who don't have those things.
Yes.
If you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like I can mampara week.
Yes.
I do get broke, but my broke is I can't just book a flight to the next country and come back.
Yes.
But I can still get around, buy myself coffee, etc.
Yes.
So I just want to ask what you meant by that. Yes, because I've let go of people that are supposed to get into relationships before because they also had the stereotype of, you guys with big cars. And I'm like, but I've never asked you for anything. I don't know what is the problem. So I just wanted to find that out before I make mine.
Okay, so what I meant, and let me speak for myself as Relebogile, because at the stage of life I am in, I would not ask a man for 200 Rand. Like, my problems are much bigger problems. My problems are 200,000 or 2 million Rand problems. So if like what you are saying, that you are doing better than most and kidikoloto, but you still have access to liquidity, right? But if now you are that man and your woman is asking another man for 500 Rand for electricity, that I think is a problem.
Oh yes, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yes, because the caller said he has a friend who would be asking for money for electricity, but he's got, her man is the big house, big car person.
I see what you mean.
Yes, But for me, I mean, at the same time, even me saying my problems are 2 million rand problems, I also don't go into a relationship expecting a man to solve those issues of mine.
Yes, no, I hear you. And I think guys must date on their level. You know what I mean? I wouldn't, honestly speaking, if you're driving a Range Rover, ne?
Yes.
I probably, I want you, labor council, but 702, bakare, because you offended someone. Ne?
Yes.
I don't want there to be a problem, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So I want to be able to take care of you, even if 702 says goodbye to you. And
Hey, this sounds like an on-air proposal. Hey, Titi, u serious kanna?
But no, but not 702. Unfortunately, no, not you. There are not 2 million problems.
Okay, so do you have friends that come to you for money, but they're in relationships?
No. Yeah. But yes, but for example, I got an ex, ne?
Mm.
So when I met up with them because I wanted to see the child, I saw that the tires are finished.
Yes.
Finished. Like it could slip anytime and get into an accident. But because my child is in that car, like, let me change this tire.
Yes.
Right? I don't know if I was wrong, but at that point, that's where I could tell her that means she hasn't moved on. She's not seeing anyone. Because I don't think a guy in his right mind would allow a woman to drive with such finished tires, if you know what I mean.
So let me put it to you like this, Titi, just to the exception I didn't mention. I think there is an exception in the context of exes. If you guys share a child together, I think the rules would be different.
Yeah, but to the current partner, they wouldn't understand it. I don't think if I was with you, you wouldn't understand.
No, I would.
Something for another woman.
No, because if you share a child, I mean, it is your duty to be interested, even if you need to go and, fix a leaking roof at the mother of your child's home. You have to. That's your child lives there. I would expect you to.
Are you single, Relebogile? And I'm saying if you're single, it makes sense because you're too understanding.
Let me put it to you like that. Go home affairs, ne? As of today, I actually must check because home affairs, we can also be married off without knowing. Go home affairs, I'm single. Let me answer the question like that. More of your messages and voice notes on 0727021702.
Yo, really? I know today's topic is spicy. Your question now is very spicy. I've also experienced the same. By the way, I've like to stay anonymous. I've also experienced the same where the wife was asking for monetary favors or monetary help. But she's a wife of someone else. So yeah, very spicy, eh?
Good afternoon, Relebogile. Kimbalentle from Johannesburg. I am so glad that you guys are talking about this because this is the same thing I'm also going through. The fact that you will have people who know that you are single, and then you've got friends who are in relationships or married, and njalo nje bahlala bacela wena imali. And don't understand ukuthi why benza kanjalo. Iyafrustrateana leyo nto leyo because it's like how njalo nje every month kumele mina ngihlale ngikusiza. Anyway, great show.
Good afternoon, Relebogile. It's Max here from Honeydew. Yo, Relebogile. A relationship differs. There are some instances where woman feels in charge, and there are some instances some women, they feel like they are victims of the circumstances, whereby they will go to their friends and they ask for whatever, while the husband doesn't even know that there are those circumstances that my woman has went and asked. So yes, it does happen. It depends with the relationship that one is in.
Hi, Relay and team. Yo, that guy that you just heard that says, I'll ask my partner. Love that guy. Actually reminds me of another celebrity influencer. What? That was recently evicted somewhere in Lone Hill. And the people are asking, but where's the husband? You're asking us to donate. Where is the husband? How does this thing work? Oh, but I love that caller. Yeah, ask your partner. And the partner says, we don't have. Good one.
Hi, Relebogile. Listen, I like your topic anyway. My name is Roland. Yeah, you know, at times, what happened to me, there's this friend of mine, a lady friend, and she always borrows money and has got this fancy boyfriend. So what I did, I befriend with the guy. Then at some point, I asked the guy, hey, your girlfriend, man. She asked me money for electricity. And she said, how come? Because I just sent a 2,000. So what I discovered, the lady just wanted to get a double sort of money from me. That's what I think some ladies do.
Guys, why have none of you tipped me that we must ask for the same money from 7 people? I did not know. There are so many of you on the WhatsApp line who are busy asking if TT is single. Another one saying, I'm single and 37 in Boxburg. Rukobadi phone numbers are TT. Hey, guys. You guys all want TT's details. Hey. All right, more of your messages. Regarding the topic of today, I've realized many people, they treat their other half with much respect and too much love and with a fear to lose them. I think it happens mostly to women and men who date and marry their crushes. This is from ST. I was recently asked by a friend's girlfriend for 5,000 Rand. And what was even worse about that request was the fact that she wanted that loan to be between me and her. The boyfriend wasn't supposed to know about it. Can you imagine? That is Israel. No, that is out of hand. You go to your man's friend to ask him to loan you 5,000 Rand. And then the friend mustn't know about it. No. Relebogile, I still maintain your jingle for the show takes the cup. I'm dancing at work and people are looking at me like I am crazy. Afternoon, I'm the jilted lover. A few years later, my married would have been asked me to buy her disposable nappies. What could this mean? Anonymous in Pretoria. What it means is you are being used. That's what it means. Unless that baby is yours. Guys, please don't lie to us. Is that child yours? That you're saying she asked you to buy her disposable nappies. Is it your baby? Because if it's your baby, sir, you need to need to pay for the diapers, sir, if that's your child. Hi, Lebo. I'm the only child to my late parents and I'm still single without and don't have a child. I feel like my extended family uses this every time to ask me for help. There's this one cousin that always asks for money. Today it's for her kid's birthday. Tomorrow it's for food for the kids. Recently it was for her to start a business. Mind you, she's married. I feel like cutting all of them off, but they're the only family I have. This thing runs across my friends too. People's partners should be looking after them, not us who are still searching for our missing ribs, lol. Listen, cut them off. Cut them off. I'm sorry. If people only can call you when they need something, but it's not reciprocal, are they even family? Like outside of the blood in your veins, are they family? Cut them off. Thank you for your messages and engagement.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
You seem to be saying that this is a general problem, not just around this issue of the access of foreigners and others to our health system, but you're saying this in many ways is a national habit we've got into.
I'm arguing that we who are privileged, who don't have to fight for jobs with foreign nationals, who don't have to fight for scarce resources, tend to argue from a position of privilege. When people say there is a problem here, we say, no, it will be sorted out.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
This October, the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon is chasing history and you are invited. The marathon on track to become Africa's first official world marathon major, and it's going to be major in every way. That means global prestige, big benefits for runners, and a massive boost for the local economy. So lace up, bring the vibe, and join thousands of runners from around the world as they hit the streets of Cape Town. Smash your PB, soak up the scenery, and be part of a race that's about to make history. On the 18th and 19th of October, sign up now at capetownmarathon.com. The Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, proudly supported by 702.
Satane, you've just graduated cum laude, but nothing says you're a genius quite like selling your car to WeBuyCars.
Absolutely. My car was an 18th birthday present, and it's time to move on to something a bit more mature.
So where did you hear about WeBuyCars?
All of my friends are using WeBuyCars. I would have had legit FOMO if I hadn't used them. And it was so quick. I did it on my laptop while sending around my CV.
Smart move, Tone. Graduated and upgraded.
WeBuyCars, geared for success, geared for you.
Most people already know that the smartest way to get through tolls is with a tag. With a tag, you don't need to carry cash or even use your credit card. You don't even have to stop or open a window. To drive smart, download the Sanral app to link your cards and manage top-up payments for your convenience. For more info, visit sunral.co.za. Tags are the way to go. Sunral, an agency of the Department of Transport.
In this year's Nedbank Business Ignite on 702, we put the spotlight on small businesses who dared to disrupt the industry, awarding one winner 200,000 Rand in cash and a 200,000 Rand advertising package.
It's good for businesses because what we did in automating businesses' financial reporting, we've managed to reduce the amount of time that it takes to prepare their financial statements from 2 weeks to just 2 days, even a day, which is a game changer. And what it does, we have tools that provide businesses and business leaders with real-time information of what's happening in their business in terms of their financial landscape, so that they are ahead of the game. They are able to make informed and timely decisions.
Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. Go to igniteyourbusiness.co.za to view the finalists and winner for 2025. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. 702.
702.
Finance feature.
10 minutes to 2 o'clock in our finance feature for today. We're talking about how to save 1 million Rand. All of us are jumping in on this conversation. 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. We're joined by Hannah Chivaka, Senior Actuary, Retail Solutions, Savings and Investments at Metropolitan. Hannah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Lebo. I'm excited to be here and happy that you can have me.
How quickly can this 1 million Rand be saved? We need it.
We're jumping straight in, aren't we? Yeah, so that's going to depend on a number of things, Lebo. It depends on how much you're able to save, how regularly you're doing this, and also the rate of growth that the savings are, growing at. But let's just try and look at a simple example. For instance, say you're starting today and for the next 12 months, you're going to be saving 1,000 Rand. The 12 months following that, you might decide to increase it to 1,060 Rand every month, and so on, each 12 months, just making it a little bit more. If your savings were then to grow at 6%, it would take about 25 years for you to get to 1 million Rand. So this is just a simple illustration that I've given, and depending on how much you're saving and the growth rate, which was just an assumption, it could take longer. So if you were to go onto Metropolitan's website, we've got a savings calculator where you could do the sort of illustration that I've just described, and therefore see that if you want to take a shorter time, how much would you need to put in each month to get to that goal of 1 million Rand?
Okay, so basically the principle of this is your money making money on top of itself.
Correct. We need to take advantage of the fact that there's compound interest and make sure that your compound interest is working in your favor. So when you start to save, you earn interest on what you have put in, and then that interest will continue to earn interest. So the earlier you start to save, the quicker you can get to a goal such as saving 1 million rand.
Let's work with the absolute bare minimum amount. We know this economy is super, super tough. So let's work with a 1,000 rand scenario where we say that a person is putting this away every month. How can a person really maximize? And I know that, there's so many trending things that people share where they'll say things like, start with 10 rand and then double it every month. Or they'll say, start with 1,000 rand, then triple it every month. What is the most straightforward and simple one where we know that the compound interest is going to play a role, but also there's that flexibility that a person can increase if their financial situation changes?
Well, I think, Lebo, the most important thing is to take a look at the individual situation that a person has, and also to make sure that you consult a financial expert who can help you take a look at your individual circumstances, see how much you have each month, that you would be able to continue saving without being inconsistent. So each individual would have to look and see what their budget would enable them to do, and therefore seeking financial advice. At Metropolitan, we do have financial advisors that would be able to help you look at this, because it's not a one-size-fits-all, and different products would help you achieve different things. So your financial advisor would look at your individual circumstances and tell you what you are able to do consistently. Look at the products that are available, and Metropolitan has different products that can help you achieve your goals. And therefore, that would be the best way to do it, because there is no one way that can get you to that goal. No magic bullet that enables you to save if you save this much, but look at your individual circumstances and get financial advice from an expert.
What kind of information does one need to be ready with when they need to input into this calculator to see how long it would take to get to that level?
So like I was saying, for each individual, you need to look at what it is that you have available. So this is just a very simple calculator that you can input. If, for instance, I'm saving this much this month, every month, and this is going to be accumulating at a particular level, then this is how long it would take. So you just really need to think, how much am I able to save? How long do I want to be able to save this? And let's see if I can get to that goal of 1 million rand.
At what point is it not just saving, but it is investing?
Right, that's a very good question. Savings versus investment really, again, depends on the individual and the time horizon that you have in order to save. Because if you've got a longer time horizon, for instance, if you're starting earlier, then it means you're able to take more risk than if you've got a short time in which you need to make your investments. So, for instance, we have savings plans in which you would just be putting in a regular amount. That's what you would refer to as savings. But investments might be looking at things which have higher risk, like shares or property. But once again, it really depends on the individual, how much time you have available to save, and therefore it's very important to get advice from a financial expert who can help you make the right decision for you.
Thank you so much for your time, Hannah. And all those calculators are available. There's so many of them from the different financial services online where you're able to see how you can save 1 million rand.
Beyond politics.
CD, I'm not going anywhere.
It's honest conversations with politicians and newsmakers on Polytricking with Sidi Madia on EWN. It gets heavy.
Even in losing the election in Polokwane, people regret Zuma. They don't regret not backing Mbeki.
Me, I don't regret nothing, because he gave people a sword to stab him with.
Yeah.
It gets personal.
There's a tendency to paint the entire GNU with the whims and the feelings of the DA at any particular moment. It is not a fact.
It gets to their truth.
If you check the videos, it started coming like organically on the ground. Random leaders of the FFT was come and saying, no man, this Floyd must go away.
You call him VBS Floyd, don't you?
Yeah, it's VBS Floyd.
Why is Julius Malema not VBS
No, but the
Malema?
president was cleared by parliament, guys.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You're defending even Floyd Shivambuni is in the EFF from VBS. Suddenly it's VBS Floyd.
No, I never defended.
Catch a new episode every Wednesday on PrimeMediaPlus.com. Polytricking with Sidi Madia on EWN.
On record, Siri.
In touch, in tune, and independent.
Seda Communications is a proudly black female-owned innovation company based in Gauteng and the Northern Cape, using tech, sustainability and entrepreneurship to drive real change. From robotics and coding training to eco-friendly branding like plantable name tags and recycled bags, Seda is all about impact with purpose. They even support last-mile delivery and promote tools like the AI Toolkit by Dr. Alan Mutono to help people grow. Visit sedacommunications.co.za to learn more or partner with them today.
When it comes to protecting your workforce, trust the workwear brand that has been protecting workers for over 150 years, Sweetall. Sweetall has overalls and uniform solutions for every industry, so your team is safe, comfortable, and ready to tackle any challenge. Visit our new Boksburg showroom, shop A1 Atlas Road, Westwood, Boksburg, or go to sweetall.com today. Sweetall, we never let you down. Superior protective workwear since 1871.
Living wealthier starts with expanding your income so you have more to invest. At Standard Bank Private, you can enjoy UCount rewards, the cheapest forex rates from Shift, and exclusive benefits and discounts on banking solutions and travel. So, come live wealthier with Africa's best private bank. Apply online at standardbank.co.za. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Relebogile is on X at Relebogile M.
In the next hour of the show, a masterclass, and we're talking about designing homes for flexibility and changing lifestyles. It's 2:00.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Khomoto Modise. We begin with news just in. The man accused of the murder of 14-year-old Likhona Forse has been granted 5,000 rands bail. The Roodepoort Magistrates Court handed down the ruling a short while ago. Forse's body was found in Durban Deep last month. Mduduzi Mnisi, who's been charged for the murder, will now be released and will return to court on Friday for the continuation of the matter. At least 3 ANC bigwigs are among those expected to be hauled before the party's Integrity Commission for wrongdoing. This includes Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, his predecessor Bheki Cele, and embattled Higher Education Minister Nobuhle Nkabane. Mchunu and Cele have recently been implicated in rot within the police ranks, while Nkabane has been widely criticized for mishandling the selection process for sector education and authority training boards. Nokhanya Mdambo has the details.
The ANC says the enormity of the claims by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi about political interference in police operations requires urgent attention. Mkhwanazi implicated Senzo Mchunu, tying the minister to alleged underworld figures, including Vusmuzi Kat Matlala. It's also since emerged that former police minister Bheki Cele also has links to the entrepreneur, claims both the ANC NEC members have denied. ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu-Motsiri.
Well, the commission has got a calendar of meetings anyway, and I imagine they probably will prioritize this matter.
She says Higher Education Minister Nobuhle Nkabane also won't escape accountability.
She is appearing before the Integrity Commission. There's no way she cannot be subjected to that given the weight of the issues that have been raised related to her representations to Parliament.
A date for their appearance before the Integrity Commission is yet to be confirmed. Nogukhanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu has admitted to knowing Brown Mokgotsi after denying in Parliament that he was familiar with the controversial man. Mokgotsi's name recently came into the spotlight during KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi bombshell media briefing on Sunday, where he made allegations against Mchunu. Mkhwanazi says he received texts and confidential documents from Mokgotsi, who alleged to be the police minister's acquaintance. Thabiso Koba has more.
On the 5th of March this year, KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi told the Police Portfolio Committee about the messages he received from Brown Mokgotsi.
In 2024, on the 29th of October, I received a phone call and a message that came from a gentleman who said to me he's a close associate of the Minister of Police. He referred to himself as Mr. Brown Mokgotsi.
In the same meeting, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu denied knowing Mokgotsi.
We must be very circumspect when people come to us and say, I'm an associate of this and that. I'm no associate to the person that General Mkhwanazi is referring to.
But in a media statement released this morning, Mchunu says he has met Mokgotsi and refers to him as a comrade and not an associate. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Anti-GBV protesters have caused a slight disruption to proceedings of the Judicial Conduct Tribunal involving Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge. His cross-examination was interrupted by the protesters who made their way into the open proceedings carrying placards. The tribunal is sitting in Sandton investigating allegations of sexual harassment against Mbenenge by Court Secretary Andiswa Mengo. He's accused of making unwanted sexual advances towards Mengo between 2021 and 2022. Zoleka Kotashe has more.
Justice for Mengo. Sexual harassment equals GBV. These are the words written on a placard carried by a woman who made her way into proceedings of the Judicial Conduct Tribunal investigating allegations of sexual harassment against Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge. This brought proceedings to a halt, allowing time for the tribunal to consider the incident. Panel chairperson, retired Judge President Bernard Ngwebe, warned the public not to turn the tribunal into a theatre.
These proceedings are open. Any member of the public can come in and listen as they wish, but they should not come in to come and perform on stage in here, because we are only the people who are authorized to perform on this stage.
The woman was quickly whisked out of the room and off the premises. Zoleka Kotashe, Eyewitness News, Sandton in Johannesburg.
And Indian forensic investigators say all 260 people killed in the crash of a London-bound passenger plane have been identified. All but one of the 242 passengers who boarded the flight were killed in the crash last month. An initial report into the air disaster is expected on Friday. Gold's trading at $3,290.16 an ounce. The rand's at 17.83 to the dollar, 24.23 to the pound, and 20.87 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $70.15 a barrel.
Roadwork still slowing down traffic in the Fourways area on the N1 North between Malibongo Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. There's also slow-moving traffic heading towards Bedford View. That's in Edenville, R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Kiluli's interchange. And look out for those faulty traffic lights in Midrand, Old Pretoria Road and Ellendale.
It's a fine day in Gauteng this afternoon. The temperatures have peaked at highs between 17 and 19 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the man accused of the murder of 14-year-old Likhona Forse has been granted 5,000 rands bail by the Roodepoort Magistrates Court.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Tell us what we need to know.
702 Listens.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja.
Live, streaming countrywide.
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7.
And 106 FM.
7 minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. And we're going to be jumping into our masterclass for today. Masterclass on the new blueprint that we're doing together with Decorex Africa 2025. And we're going to be talking about designing homes for flexibility and changing lifestyles. I'm sure you're like me, who also regularly looks at homes. We're building in our minds our dream homes that fit specifically for the lives that we are living. Gareth van Niekerk and Alan Hayward, Joint Executive Creative Directors of Decorex Africa 2025, will join us for that conversation. So get in touch with us. Give us a call. 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702
Masterclass.
The masterclass with me, Relebogile Mabotja, is brought to you by Decorex Joburg, Africa's premier decor and design expo. And in this conversation, we are going to be talking about designing that home that really suits flexibility, but also our changing lifestyles. And I want to hear from all of you, just in terms of the things that you used to want in a home that now you're like, actually, now that my lifestyle is changed, this is what I'm looking at instead. The new blueprint, designing homes for flexibility and changing lifestyles. Now, last week, we kicked off talking about smart living and how technology is transforming modern homes, focus purely around the tech side of it. Now we are looking about this future of living with the flexibility and changing lifestyles we're looking for. 011 883 0702 in the WhatsApp line 072 702 702. Joining us for the conversation, Gareth van Niekerk and Alan Hayward, Joint Executive Creative Directors of Decorex Africa 2025. Gareth and Alan, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having us. It's great to be on your show.
I'm not sure if that was Alan or Gareth, but I didn't hear a second voice.
That is Gareth.
Alan, are you with us?
Yes,
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. All right, and I can hear you both very clearly. I'm so excited about this conversation, especially now when we see what potential there is with homes, and the way that we are really evolving into a simplicity type of a space when it comes to the type of homes we're looking for. We're moving away from certain trends. Gareth, let me start with you. When we say, we're looking for flexibility, what kind of flexibility would we be referring to?
I think our homes now have to do everything, from the workplace to places that you can rest and everything in between. And it's something that we are exploring on all 5 levels of Decorex this year for the first time. And I think one of the big standouts is something that we're calling the Urban Living Exhibit, where a whole bunch of designers are coming together to show how we can make small spaces not just really livable, but also really luxurious, like things like fold-down desks, modular storage, and just furniture that really adapts with your everyday.
Which country, Gareth, would you say? Because the first thing I thought about with what you were saying is how they do things in China. There's certain individuals I follow on social media who have a space which is literally like 3 by 10 meters, and that's their entire apartment. But they've got such smart ways that they have made this one little room into a space where they can do everything. Are there some countries which you say, which you feel are on the money when it comes to that level of working with what you have?
Yeah, I think in South Africa a lot of us have always been really lucky with our houses. But in places like Japan, there's this sort of very deep culture of minimalism and efficiency. I suppose in really dense cities like Tokyo, where they use multifunctional furniture, hidden storage, things like movable walls. And I think it's how we're starting to think about these sort of like micro living pods, where you start wondering how you can elevate a space through like really simple ideas and smart engineering. Other places like Denmark and I guess those sort of Scandinavian countries have also been doing it forever.
Alan, from your side, just in terms of how our lifestyles are changing, what are you observing the evolving needs are for people with their homes? I always feel like I might not be a great example because my lifestyle is almost like a miniature version of maybe what a Mariah Carey's lifestyle would be, because I need a whole walk-in closet because of the work that I do, but I also need to be able to shoot content, so there must be like a studio and this, whereas the average person, their needs wouldn't be like that at all.
You know, I think that we started to see the first of this during COVID. You know, suddenly people had to have separation in their houses between their kids and themselves, between their work life and their playing. So I think what's kind of started to happen is you're getting people not just thinking about having 10 rooms in their house, but how those rooms can adapt and how they can, go from being a dining room that you never use into your house to being an office. I think we're not only seeing this in homes, but we're also seeing a lot of commercial spaces. That's why with the rise of these co-working spaces, you will see that those same offices could become a function venue, or they could become a presentation room or boardroom. So I think we're seeing a lot of furniture and design that's, talking about these kind of changeable things. And we've seen that all over, in the home, at work, and in a lot of kind of other spaces as well.
As you were speaking and sharing that it isn't just homes, it is also, your office spaces. The economy being what it is at the moment is making things like a lot trickier for everybody, Alan.
Yeah, I think, it starts to become bang for your buck. I think that a lot of people that were in the commercial spaces, office spaces, were kind of having to relook at exactly what their offering was. And coaxing people back to work by offering fringe benefits, places that have coffee shops, places that have, ways to do your presentations in the offices. So I think that as our needs have kind of expanded, everyone's trying to make the most of these spaces. And I think that is the same in your home or in your office, that what you're trying to do is you're trying to get rid of wastefulness. You're trying to get rid of spaces that are maybe just a storage room, and what you're trying to do is use each of those spaces in a way that feels intentional, and also I suppose it's just a way to be mindful of excess in general.
Would you say, Gareth, that the role of Airbnbs and people being able to do those types of things with their spaces have also played a part in that flexibility?
Absolutely. I think it's just getting bigger and bigger. I think people in Cape Town are really dealing with the brunt of this. And I think what it's done is it's kind of made homes more public facing. It's not just something for, I suppose, your personal comfort or for guests, but it's really about, on one end, these really highly styled interiors so that your Instagram pops. But then also these sorts of neutral palettes that are designed to make your home feel a little bit more appealing to a much wider audience. And then little things like scents and lighting and welcome notes that kind of make a house feel more like a hotel.
Would you say, and I'm asking the both of you this question, that even though we've moved into this very, clean lines and neutrals, that there are many South Africans who still are not into that. I think for me, like, I can see those things and think they're very pretty. Let's use the, Kim Kardashian's home, which is all nude and art. But for me, I feel like a little bit of clutter makes a home feel lived in. And like it has family history. You need like 2 broken kettles in the garage.
I think for such a long time.
Yes.
I'm with you. Look, I loved Kim's house when she came out. It's my favorite designer. But I think we've been obsessed with minimalism for such a long time. And I think we're moving away from that sort of sterile feeling into something that's a lot more representative of who we are, something more textured, something a little bit more layered and lived in. And I think people are looking for that warmth and also how to express your personality. You don't want your house to look like a hotel lobby. You want it to feel like real life. And I think this idea of designer storytelling is really something that we're working with a lot of our designers. And we've got a feature, something called the Relebogile Collective, where it's a street in one of our floors, and it's brought together the best designers in Relebogile in Johannesburg, and they're exploring things like upholstery and layered styling and how you can use color palettes to make your space really feel a lot more reflective of you.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we continue with this masterclass together with Gareth and Alan. Let us know what your changing lifestyle needs look like in your homes, but also the kind of flexibility, and not just your homes. It could be your holiday homes, or maybe it is a work from home space, or you run a business where you say, hey, when it's off-peak season, I actually like to rent this out, and these are the things I'm doing. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Quiet, please. The Wimbledon experience in Mzansi is back at Amex Tennis Town Monte Casino between 11 and 13 July 2025. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, and more than just strawberries and cream. Buy your tickets now using your Amex card on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets. Amex Tennis Town, the Championships Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi advantage. Tennis is better with Amex.
Proudly South African will be at the 702 Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 27th of July at Freedom Park in Tshwane. Look out for Lolo Warona, their joyful mascot, bringing energy and reminding walkers of the power of a local. When you buy South African-made goods, you're supporting local industries, incubating local innovation, and creating much-needed jobs. As you load that cart or swipe that card, choose local, create change, and show your love for Mzansi with every purchase.
Checkers XXL Savings is on with the XXL Jackpot competition. New week, new deals, new jackpot. This week, save on Coca-Cola No Sugar, Light or No Caffeine Cold Drink, 2.25 litres, any 2 for 28 Rand. And Twin Saver 2-ply White Toilet Rolls, 9-pack, 3 for 199 Rand. Remember, buy any 3 participating products and get a scratch card to enter. Deals valid until Sunday at Checkers.
And they're off. Out front, it's Doped Up Glory, followed closely by Whipped Into Shape. Little Too Young making a surprising early push, just 2 years old and already on her second race this week. Duct Tape Dreams taking the outside lane, tongue-tied and terrified, but hey, she's fast when she's scared. Discarded Glory stumbles at the back, used to be a champ, now just waiting for the knackery truck to the glue factory. Halfway through, it's beaten again, cracking the whip literally, pushing through the pain barrier, eyes wide, heart-breaking, lungs bleeding. She doesn't know she can stop. Learned helplessness, they call it. We just call it racing. And at the final stretch, it's Doped Up Glory by a nose. She's done it. Oh wait, she's down. She's not getting up. Oh well.
Cruelty is staining horse racing. The NSPCA is calling for the industry to sign their racing code of conduct to hashtag Rein in the Pain. Show your support at nspca.co.za/Rein in the Pain.
When life changes, so should your savings plan. And when your goals evolve, your advice should evolve with them. With Momentum, advice meets your context. Catch 702 in conversation with Momentum on The Money Show this Wednesday, 9 July, as we unpack why context matters in financial advice. Discover how you can get the right support on your savings and investment journey, tailored to where you are and where you're going. That's 702 in conversation with Momentum this Wednesday on The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Momentum, your journey to success on 702. Momentum is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
702
Masterclass.
22 minutes after 2 o'clock, we continue with our master class as we chat about designing homes for flexibility and changing lifestyles in this masterclass series that we'll be doing over the month of July on the new blueprint. And we're joined by Joint Executive Creative Directors of Decorex Africa 2025, Gareth van Niekerk and Alan Hayward. We take your calls on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Gareth, just in terms of, from the perspective that we've been speaking around flexibility, I sometimes see, and I've just lost the name of the brand, there is a big brand in the US that does this furniture that you can assemble yourself, and it's usually all white. I know that Americans use it quite a bit. Are you seeing that suppliers are going into that space where you can DIY? IKEA, thank you so much. This is why we have producers at work. It's IKEA. My brain went blank as I was speaking. But you see your IKEAs where they create this very interesting furniture that people are able to put up themselves. Are you seeing suppliers locally start to jump on that trend? If I'm to mention a few of the very easy ones, you've got your Deco Ferns, you've got your Mr. Price Homes. Are they jumping on it with the flexibility in mind?
Yeah, I think it's I think what they're calling it now is self-assembled flexibility.
Oh wow, that is so fancy. Self-assembled flexibility. Or in the case of me, you hire someone to self-assemble.
So I think it's kind of moved past DIY in that traditional sense. And the idea, I think, from the furniture design perspective, is that you kind of become the final co-creator in the furniture. And so, yes, we're seeing it as a big thing. People are kind of making these kits that let you build and customize and adapt things as your needs change. So I think it's kind of a response to how you can bring together affordability and creativity, but also kind of putting the power in your hands, literally. You've got the tools to make something, and it's cool, whether you're a homeowner or a renter, you can really start manufacturing your space as you like. So we've got a whole DIY studio at Decorex this year where there's drills and tools and all these things where you can start kind of learning from the masters and getting a bit of confidence. And then we've got other really cool things like we've partnered with Create Cafe this year where you can make your own homeware, like ceramic plates and hand-tufted rugs. And so really, I think a big part of our approach, our theme is called The Future of Living this year. And we're looking at how we can empower people to make their own homes.
Ellen, spaces are getting smaller and smaller, especially when it comes to apartments. We know the developers will, just about allow you to fit a king size and squeeze yourself past the window to get into your bed. How have interior decorators and people that are doing their things in their homes had to rethink how they use their spaces?
Well, the thing is that what traditionally had happened, open plan design was a very big trend for a long time. And there's lots of problems with open plan design. Obviously, clutter and kind of, just having everything in one space. And I think what we're seeing a lot more now is people zoning their spaces. So whether it's a huge house and there's lots of different zones in that house or kind of a smaller apartment, I think what we're seeing people are, breaking the space up into different sections and using those different sections to carry out certain functions. One of the interesting things that we got on the show this year is the Nando's Hot Young Designers, and they were briefed, 5 young designers were briefed to do screens for all the Nando's stores. And that's also the same thing, is kind of using screens and pieces of furniture to break up your spaces so that, each section and each zone has its own kind of, a feeling, and also so that you aren't seeing all the clutter, in one space at one time.
I actually love that you are mentioning a Nando's with regards to what you are seeing. What are some of the, retail and your restaurants and all of those spaces? What are the trends that you are seeing outside of the fact that the place has to be Instagrammable, and it is very, very clear some of the look and feel that they are going for? I mean, I popped into a Tasha's yesterday, and it's that thing of having your indoor plants and having, just decoration and lighting that looks a certain way. Even the bathroom needs to be Instagrammable. But what else are you seeing when it comes to the businesses and the needs that they have to satisfy us as customers?
So one of the things that we're seeing is the idea of kind of modular merchandising. So it's things like, it's almost like you start thinking about your house or your store or your hotel or any sort of commercial space, more like a film set. It's got to be changeable. It's got to be immersive. It has to be reactive. So like Alan explained, these screens become something that's movable or collapsible or reconfigurable. So almost like this modular home furniture that we're talking about. And it allows spaces to be a little bit more seasonable. The spaces aren't just static anymore. They start becoming alive again. And I think it's such a difficult part of making a home. I'm sure like everybody that's listening knows. You invest in something, and such a huge part of that decision is going, oh my God, I have to live with this thing for the next 25 years and I'm not going to love it forever. And these sorts of trends are making it a little bit easier to commit to something and live with it and then reuse it once the need for it changes.
And I think, like what you said, saying film sets is actually literally what it is. And it's so scary to think about in that way, because while everything is all about, having your phone camera out and doing all of that, it isn't just the businesses. You also have to have that in your home, where people's kitchens need to be sets as well. You've got so many food influencers that are out there.
Yeah, I think all about how you can. Oh, sorry, Alan, you take this one.
The thing is that there are so many incredible ideas out there, and also so many brands doing it in completely different ways. We have an incredible Babylon Storen showcase that we're doing on the 100% design floor. We've got a Woolworths and Studio H stand, which will also be, speaking about, how we marry this, kind of shops with design. So, I don't know. I love it. I love going to a restaurant and it's got a very strong theme, and I can pull my camera out and really be transported to a different place. I think that no longer can brands afford to be lazy and just put two chairs and a table and expect, that is good enough, especially in places like Joburg and Cape Town where there's lots of competition. I think that, you should spend money on designers and furniture and experts to, create the ambiance that you want for your food and for your offering. I think it's a very important thing. And obviously, if we had the money for it in our own homes, there's a way to do it in a thoughtful way that doesn't have to break the bank.
All right, we are going to head over to the news, but when we come back, we definitely are going to be continuing with this masterclass. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. It's just after 2:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. I'm Mabotja. The man accused of the murder of 14-year-old Likhona Force has been granted 5,000 rands bail. The Relebogile Magistrates Court handed down the ruling this afternoon. Force's body was found in Durban Deep last month. 3 parliamentary committees will probe allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi of corruption within the police service. National Assembly Speaker Thogo Didiza has announced that the committees of Police, Justice and Intelligence will investigate the claims that also allegedly involve Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. But Didiza is not heeding to a request from 2 political parties to debate the matter just yet. And medical experts have called for an increase in measles vaccinations in Gauteng as the province continues to deal with an outbreak. Gauteng recently recorded 181 lab-confirmed cases with hotspots identified in Tshwane, Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni. The University of the Western Cape says vaccination coverage in the province remains under 75%, which is well below the threshold to prevent outbreaks. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Four ways. We still have those roadworks causing some delays on the N1 northbound between Malibongwe Drive and Winnie Mandela. There's also slow-moving traffic. That's in the Midrand area, N1 northbound between New Road and Olifantsfontein Road. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenville, Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeek. Traffic lights also not working in Bryanston at Winnie Mandela Drive and Sloan. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
This is Leanne from Pretoria. 702 is my companion on my drive to work and home from work every day. They keep me up to date with loads of important information on the news of the world, but also lots of other interesting facts. And I always arrive at work and saying, guess what I heard on the radio today? So I think my staff know me as, guess what I heard on the radio today, whenever I arrive at work, thanks to 702.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Life moves fast and you're keeping up. So maybe it's time you gave yourself some credit with a Visa F&B credit card, a resource that actually helps you move forward. It's about tapping into opportunities, covering what matters, and having the freedom to pursue the things you want on your terms. Get credit that's flexible, guided, and reliable. Because when credit is done right, it doesn't hold you back, it backs you. Apply for a Visa F&B credit card online or visit your nearest branch today. Help changes everything. T's and C's apply. Credit is subject to meeting the qualifying criteria.
Did you know that every hour someone in South Africa is diagnosed with blood cancer or a blood disorder? DKMS Africa helps patients find a matching stem cell donor, ensuring that patients get the transplant they need. This Mandela Month, be part of the mission. Donate 50 rands towards the Swap Kids Save Lives campaign. Your donation will help more people register as potential stem cell donors. Visit dkmsafrica.org today. Every rand and every swab count in the fight against blood cancer.
Vodacom's Red Hot Deals presents more value. Get the Samsung Galaxy A05s 128 gig on a Flexi 160 plan for just $179 per month over 36 months. Enhance your deal. Add 99 extra per month to get 10 gigs of data and a free Vodacom Smart Tab 8. Available in-store and online. Miss it, miss out. T's and C's apply.
Red Hot Deals.
Further together. Vodacom.
Dear Journal, day 4602 of trying to be an adult. My doctor asked me how my quality of rest is at the moment. I told him I have two problems. I struggle to sleep at night, but I also struggle to awake at day.
Aggressively realizing your age? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's simple and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Coming up
on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
24 minutes to 3 o'clock. 702 Drive is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman. John, how are you doing?
Doing well, thanks, and you?
Doing fantastically. So, question, we were talking earlier about being a friend to people in relationships or marriages and them asking for help with you being the outside friend. Are there things that you think are inappropriate to ask a friend to do if you have a husband or a wife? For example, hey, can you help me with money for electricity? But you know that that friend is like married.
So, I don't know. I mean, I think it depends a lot on whether you're friends with individuals or with a couple. And, you know, because sometimes one has relationships that are wrapped around the couple as a whole. So that would be a consideration for me. I would expect, for example, something like borrowing money at some point. Let's say you become friends with a couple, but the longest standing relationship is with one person in that relationship. At some point, I would want to say to them, what's happening? What's the context? And of course, it would depend on the amount and so on. But I think at a certain point, I would want to know, sorry, why? I don't mind helping you, but I kind of need to know why.
Yeah.
Because
let's not even make it money. Let's say you know that this friend of yours has a husband, but they keep asking you to help pick them up at the airport.
Yeah.
And the husband is working and, like it's an evening flight. Would you not be like, ma'am, where's your husband?
No, I just use a 4-letter word.
Which is what?
Uber. I mean, really.
But it's so funny how many people are like, why does this person keep asking me for money when you want to be like, but you have a husband and you're posting his fancy car. Now you don't have money for electricity.
I mean, I think the really interesting question that flows out of what you've just said is, why are people still puzzled? Do you know what I mean? That they've never brought it to a point where you say, hey, John, what's up,
Yes.
I'm getting a vibe from you that something in your partnership is not right, because you shouldn't be asking me for this, but you're my friend. And I want to know, how did we get to this point? And if they don't have an explanation that is about, well, actually his business is not going so well, or she and I are not really speaking. If they can't explain it and they just want to shoot you, say, okay, we're done here. Don't ask me again. But if there's a good reason and explanation, I mean, relationships do get complicated, and I get that.
Yes, they do.
But
all right,
you've got to explain.
No, I'm with you on that one. All right, what's coming up on the show today?
So coming up on the show, very interesting piece in the Sowetan saying that the police saw somebody who I guess people generally would describe as homeless, but certainly somebody for whom this isn't their job, directing traffic when the lights have broken down.
Yes.
And the JMPD arrested somebody for doing that. And the statement they put out was that only an officer of the law can actually do this. To which my immediate response was, I've never seen the JMPD actually in action when the traffic lights go out.
We have never. We have the pointsmen who are not.
Yes. So that's what I want to clarify. I mean, I'm not advocating for people who are untrained, and their callers have called in and said, listen, they're actually breaking the traffic lights in order to create the situation. I'm not getting into that in any way, excusing that situation and saying it's ideal. But, I mean, is the JMPD there to help us when traffic lights are out or not? So I hope we can clarify that at 10 to 4. We're chasing a story. Lesotho has declared a 2-year national state of emergency. And just to clarify what that means, this is their response to the impact on that country of tariffs out of the United States. Fundamentally, the major economic activity in that country, as I understand it, is the textile industry, which supplies virtually all its product to the US. So 50% tariff they were hit with, a country that President
50% is insane.
Well, the president himself said he hadn't heard of Lesotho before, but it didn't stop them whacking them with 50.
I mean, can we just...
So we'll talk about that at 10 minutes past 4. Minister of Justice Mamoloko Kubai has said that when you look at maintenance payments, we need much more than we do to look at what the women in the couple that produce the child earn. And maintenance shouldn't always just be seen as a thing that men have to pay. So we're trying to get her or possibly the DG of Justice on the show as well. And we got plenty more besides. You'll have to listen.
Listen, I feel like you and I need an hour show.
Yes.
In between our show.
Let's have one.
So we need to figure out, because there's so many things that you said that will be tuning in. We don't know where to start. We'll be tuning in.
Winding up. That's why I thought, because you got more with your guests.
I do. 702 Drive with John
Sorry
Pillman.
to your guests. taking all your time.
From 3 to 6 p.m. One of these days, it's going to be from 4 to 6 p.m. because we're going to have an in-between show between John and myself. We'll figure out how it happens.
702.
Masterclass time as we continue our conversation on the new blueprint, designing homes for flexibility and changing lifestyles. And yes, we've also touched on businesses, office spaces, restaurants, retail spaces as well. We are chatting to Gareth van Niekerk and Alan Hayward, who are joint executive creative directors of Decorex Africa 2025. And make sure you stay tuned with us for the remainder of the month in our masterclass where we are having a series with Decorex Africa. Your calls with your questions 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. I would like to open up the lines for all of your calls as well, where we can get some of your questions that I'm also seeing coming through on the WhatsApp line. So we've got Jeff from Woodmead. Hi, Jeff. How are you doing? Just hold on 1 second. Hi, Jeff. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yourself?
Good, good. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, just a quick one. I'm an architect from about 35 years of practicing, and the last 10 years I've been designing hotels where the room size is 15 square meters. Now, what I would like to suggest to Decorex is maybe they should have a specific event where the notion of how you can reduce the size of your living space and it still works, because I still see clients wanting to do 800 square meter houses, and that's obscene, and people say yes, but they can afford it. Well, the planet can't. It's as simple as that. So what I'm saying is that they could do a specific, because we're talking about kind of concepts that people maybe generally don't quite understand. I mean, they talked about the Japanese equation or the Chinese equation, which is where this has been going on for a long time, but it's time that we started to say it's not such a bad idea if you've got a 30 square meter unit, as long as it has all the requirements that you need, or 40 square meters, or whatever it is, and maybe have a specific show where they do some mock-ups and actually show, all right, here's a home or here's a unit, and it's got everything you want. It's got all the bells and whistles and the furniture that can swap around and whatever. Because I don't think that people are quite getting what they're saying, because how do you put it together? As a person who says, I want to do this. I've got a unit in a townhouse complex, and I want to now turn this into something special, but I don't want to go and buy a bigger one.
I hear you, Jeff, and I think that's a valid point. I don't know, Gareth or Ellen, who wants to take this, because, I mean, I have a friend who lives in a beautiful mansion, but even they are looking at going to buy those container homes that you would put on a plot of land and just completely scale down.
Okay.
Alan can answer.
All right, Ellen. I'll come back to you as well, Gareth. Yes, Ellen.
We're too eager. So we actually have a stand called the Urban Living Exhibit in collaboration with Eco Furniture. So what we've done is we've looked on that stand specifically at 4 different types of small living spaces. So that would obviously be co-living environments where people are sharing spaces, people that are using other spaces for business. So maybe they have a bigger house in the country and they're coming into the city. We have some friends like that have a small flat in Sea Point, but they live further out. Then obviously people that are in retirement, who have smaller spaces. And then the last subset is student living. So we're already looking at that, and we've given it to 4 different interior designers for them to come up with how they would do it. They obviously aren't the full apartments because we're limited with space, but there are quite a lot of exhibitors on the 5 different levels that we have that are using these kind of similar ideas, how we can have modular couches, how we can have Murphy beds, all sorts of things that you'll see on the show this year that will speak to all of those rising needs.
Gareth?
No, Alan nailed that answer.
I was like, maybe you have a bit of whipped cream and a cherry to add on top.
Always have whipped creams and cherry. But Jeff, I think it's a great question, and I think like Alan said, I think the interior designers are thinking about it, and I love that architects are thinking about it as well. I think it's just going to be how we can make these smaller, more intelligent homes, and how architects work with developers, and how they work with homeowners, and how these sorts of solutions can become scalable and more, I suppose, more meaningful for the people that really need it the most. I think the housing issue in South Africa is so complex, and I think it's so historical, and I think it's never really been more important here than it is now. And so I think people are going to really walk into the show and hopefully leave with some real life solutions.
I'm going to ask this one to you, Gareth, but please do say if I should direct it to Alan. Is there a way that we need to be thinking about decorating when it comes to these pods? And I mean, I've seen quite a few of them where people are selling these container homes where it's a container, it's a 2-bedroom, they literally deliver it and it is ready-made. Are there things that people need to start thinking about when it comes to those type of spaces in a way that accommodates the fact that you are in a container, you're not in a brick house, but I would still rather live in a container than the cardboard houses in the US?
No, totally. I think these pods, my parents are in a similar situation. They've moved from their home and bought a piece of property at the coast, and you need to think about how it all fits into this really tiny little space. And so I think a big part of this is that you really have to be a lot more intentional. You have to rethink how decoration works. So it's not something just decorative. It needs to add value. Every single thing needs to add value. It needs to add how things can be more multi-use. So you start thinking about things like materiality. How does using a material replace clutter? You start thinking about how a really curated color palette can soften a space, but also make it visually more open. You start thinking about things like how you can start zoning without a wall. These ideas of sort of dividers, how soft furnishings, things like rugs, curtains, can start defining zones. So really, I think there's a million ways that you can start thinking about it, and I think it's becoming more and more important for all of us.
All right, thank you so much for just also rethinking all of those things. Your messages I'm seeing on 072702 and 702. Aldrin, I see you waiting to get on the line. We take a break. We continue when we come back.
Dreaming of a tropical escape? World Leisure Holidays has your ticket to paradise with exclusive getaways to the Indian Ocean Islands. From the beaches of Mauritius and the Maldives to the charm of Madagascar, Seychelles, Zanzibar, and more, your dream destination awaits. Take advantage of early bird specials and pay stay offers. Call 011-285-2500 and mention 702 for a mystery discount. Or follow us on social media or contact your nearest travel professional. Start planning your escape today. T's and C's apply.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival offers you 3 days of the heart and art of jazz. From the 26th to the 28th of September, across 4 stages at the Sandton Convention Centre, Esperanza Spalding, The Baylor Project, Jasmine Horn, Alune Wade, Steve Beddy, Steve Dyer, featuring amazing choir, Gabi Mutuba, the Fisherman Orchestra, and over 50 world-class acts will be expecting you and yours. Take me there. Buy your ticket, +1 at Ticketmaster now.
It took patience, perseverance, and audacity to get my first call-up and win with the Booker. And we did it together. That's why I, Dion Free, partnered with African Bank so I can win big with a 60-month fixed deposit. Patience brings results. Join the bank that backs you. Get a 12.8% return at expiry on your investment. Visit africanbank.co.za or a branch for assistance. African Bank. Audacity to believe. African Bank is a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702 Masterclass.
And we continue with our masterclass at 8 minutes to 3 o'clock. And we are talking about designing your home for flexibility and changing lifestyles with Decorex Africa. And we're chatting to Gareth van Niekerk and Alan Hayward, who are joint executive creative directors of Decorex Africa 2025. And on that note, 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. We go to the lines. Aldrin Sampir from Johannesburg. How are you doing?
Good, Relebogile. I hope that you are well. Gareth and Ellen, hello, guys. Quick one.
Yes.
Sustainability is a big thing. How far does Decorex Africa go when it comes to sustainability, especially around flipping furniture? I love flipping furniture. Are there any ideas or any stalls that would be looking into ideas that you can give customers on how to flip furniture and how to go about it? I know that you said that there was going to be a DIY section as well. So just quickly on the flipping of furniture, sustainability, a big thing. And then a final one, maybe controversial. What advice do you give to couples who have opposite aesthetics when it comes to design?
Live in your own houses. I'm all for couples living separately, guys. But hey, I think that's such a brilliant question. So let's work backwards. The last question you asked is couples that have different aesthetics and designs. I don't know, Alan, from your side, is it odd to see, I know couples that don't necessarily even share a master bedroom. So they are designing homes where each couple has their own master and they can have their own spaces, or there's a man cave and a woman's den.
Look, I think that if you speak to any interior designer, I think that one of their skills is psychology and conflict resolution, which is probably a large part of their job. So, the thing is that it's always hard, having two different ideas about homes. But, I think that, if you can't afford a professional, I think that good Pinterest boards always help.
I like that one. And then the first question that was asked, Gareth, maybe you can speak to the stalls that are going to look at, restoring furniture and things like that, flipping furniture.
Totally. I think also just to give a bit of context to Alan's question, because aside from just being joint creative directors of Decorex, we are also a couple. And we also
I love it for us.
And we have very different tastes. Alan really loves the brightest colors and shiny stuff, and I like things a lot more wooden and neutral. And I think it's the whole point, is that it should be. I think relationships are an experiment, and I think your interiors are kind of this other experiment where two worlds come together. And I swear, sometimes adding that luminous green bars on top of the wooden table in the brown room is actually all it needed. So I think couples should embrace the conflict also in a way and see what happens. Throw it all together and something magical, I promise you, something magical will happen. So that's just my little bit of advice. But I think in terms of this flipping furniture, I think it's a big thing. I think it's also a bit of a bragging point. And I think this year we've got these really fun features like the DIY studio, which is going to give you tools on how to do this. And then the Create Cafe, where you can learn how to paint your own furniture. But I think there's so much sustainability happening this year at Decorex. There's things like Homewood, who are making sustainable timber furniture from invasive species, which is such an interesting way to address climate challenges, things you would have just thrown on the fire, which is what most invasive wood does. And they made it into such beautiful designs. And then Samsung's one of our big partners this year, and they're really looking at how you can reduce your footprint and use tech to do that. So I think it's about reconfiguring and I suppose just find ways not to burn through the planet for a nicer sofa. There's lots of ideas at Decorex, and I think you'll be inspired, I can promise you.
There's a question from one of our listeners who's asking if there'll be a garden exhibit.
So we have an incredible talk by the landscape architect Patrick Watson, and actually Gareth on the same call is also the author of that book, Felt. So that will be on our Future Talks panel, and that is an incredible look at Patrick Watson's career and their book that they have just released with Penguin Books. So that will be on the Future Talks, and obviously a lot of other talks covering all different areas of design. And then we have a Botanicus flower studio is doing an incredible flower installation on 100% design. And then we have all sorts of other gardening stuff and things for the home on our board floor too.
Okay, and I think it's going to be such a fantastic time. Gareth and Alan, thank you so much for your time chatting to us on this masterclass. Now, from the 24th of July to the 27th of July, Decorex Joburg returns to the Sandton Convention Centre, now spanning 5 halls. Explore over 300 brands, shop exclusive show specials, and discover the latest in interiors, kitchens, bathrooms, and luxury finishes. Experience live interactive demos, expert LED talks, LED talks rather, and the Handmade Africa Design Market. There's something for every style, space, and home. Book your tickets now at decorex.co.za or buy at the door.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Quiet, please.
With 50% off on limited Tennis Town tickets, no wonder Amex card members are so thrilled. Enjoy a world-class tennis experience at Monte Casino between 11 and 13 July 2025. Buy your tickets for Amex Tennis Town online today at howler.co.za for the Championships Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi advantage. Tennis is better with Amex.
Hey, did you see the office of the tax ombudsman at Menlyn Mall? It's right next to Starbucks.
No way. What are they doing here?
It's filing tax season, and they're helping people who have complaints against SARS. If you feel like you've been treated unfairly by SARS, they can help. And it's completely free.
That's smart. I didn't know they help for free.
Yep, smart taxpayers do the right thing. Visit the office of the tax ombud at Menlyn Mall from Friday 11 July until Saturday 12 July.
Of course you could take the lift just one floor up. Or you could grab the new Berry Blue sports drink from Aquila Vive and get moving. Blue has never tasted so good. Bursting with bold berry flavor, packed with electrolytes and vitamins, and free from colorants. Aquila Vive sports and power drinks. Let's move.
Thank you so much for joining us on 702 Afternoons. PrimeMediaPlus.com or download the app. It's 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Murder accused Mnisi released on bail due to the lack of evidence, and parliamentary committees to probe Mkhwanazi's allegations. Good afternoon, I'm Khomotso Modise. The Rhodopert Magistrates Court has ruled that the state's lack of evidence is enough for murder accused Mduduzi Mnisi's release on bail. The court granted Mnisi